Ladies and gents, welcome. We are here in round 4. Round 4 has officially begun, and Hera right now is top of his group. But he's not clearly top of his group. He's actually just top of his group via the tiebreak. And he's now up against Villese, who's at the very bottom of the group. Seems very unlikely Villese will be able to save himself, but he's got to start somewhere and get some wins. Now, kind of the side story here, because Hera should most likely be competing for the top in the group and going into playoffs, and Villese is most likely relegated. The side story here is Sito already played Villese, already got the 3-0. So Hera's going to be looking at this, be like, man, I really need to get those wins. And Hera, who shot his boar accidentally with his TC in one of his games earlier in the rounds, he just made me very nervous here. So Hera's playing as the Mongols, which is not your typical civ for this map, but it's a fast-starting civilization regardless, and so could be really solid here. And then we've got the Japanese here for Villese. So this might be the first time we've actually seen Mongols on Cross in Platinum League. I think there were some Gold League games where I saw it. I forget who. But yeah, I mean, essentially, because you bring in food faster from the hunt, you can get villagers onto wood a little bit faster. So you can gain some advantages in hybrid maps, even though you don't have any wood savings. That and just the units that Mongols have available in Castle Age are really strong, right? So you can go for Steppe Lancers, you can go for Cav Archers, and all that stuff is really terrifying to deal with on an open map. This gold is horrible for Villese. This is like, if you were to try and give him the worst possible gold position around his base, this would be it. Right there at the top of the hill, you can't really TC it easily. But obviously you can mining camp it, but he'll need to build out in front of that and protect that. Does have other fallback golds. There's the golds here. There's the golds here. Hera's gold's also on the hill. I guess Hera's gold is in the back of his base, though. But yeah, we'll see if the golds become a problem. Usually, on any type of map, if you don't have the map control, you're going to have problems. So it's not necessarily the map position. It's like, do you have army to protect all of your map? Yes or no? If the answer is no, you'll have some problems. It's not very easy to wall up on this map when you're doing everything else. Oh, wow. Villese's scout was lurking around. If Villese kills this Vil, massive lead for him. And Hera's going to go for a quick wall. And oh my goodness, guys. So that's not just the villager kill. That also delays the dock for an extra minute or so, which delays the fishing ship. So Villese, great move here. We were wondering, is Villese going to come in here, be able to get wins? Is he going to have the confidence? Is he going to have the grit about him? He went for the kill. And now just keep an eye on the eco count there, because Villese will have that fishing ship out faster. So Villese is up 2 eco, essentially. That has a compounding effect when you're killing the villager on the dock. And Hera clicks up? Is Hera going to have eco for anything? Hera's certainly used the food from the Mongols. On the way to feudal age, 17 pop, 0 fishing ships. We'll have 2 of them. But wow, this is a really fast uptime here from Hera. But when you make it to feudal age, should be able to maybe beat Villese to the next move. Could be scouts, could be a sneak villager onto a dock, but Hera doesn't have any scouting intel either, so he doesn't even know where he's going. So it's not like he can sneak a Vil. He has no clue where his opponent is, and I think he has to come over here and get these sheep anyways. So this is one of those things, guys. I actually think going feudal age this fast is bad. I think creating 2 more Vils, or 1 or 2 more Vils, would have been a little bit better economically. The only way I disagree with that is if the barracks and the archer range or stable timing is perfect. If it's not, I think an extra Vil or 2 would have been fine. But the scout can give you, this gives you a lot of mental edge, which I think is underrated. And the scout being in feudal age faster does allow you to find more intel. Villese might start panicking. You never really know. It's not too bad from Hera in the end. He's going to get that stable up on time. So he did get the timings quite right. He also got up to 3 fishing ships himself. Scout is over here. doing what he can to be a pest, and this is what Hera likes to do. Hera is currently reminding Villese who he just messed with. And Villese is like, oh no, I made him angry. I don't know why I said it like that, but yeah, I mean, there's probably a small part of like, oh god. Because it's never fun. To lose your Dockville could really be a bit of a tilter. And so Hera lurking around with that scout. And Villese knows there will be more scouts around. Villese still hasn't even completed his barracks yet. And now this is a wild one. The fact that the barracks is late is wild to me, considering how much time he's had. He does know that Hera's coming forward with the scout. So Hera has 2 more scouts in queue and already has the second scout on the way before the first spearman's out. This is going to be an absolute ever-living nightmare here for Villese. This is going to be tough. Hera's going to be microing like a madman here. Hera might also... he might be able to back this up with a fast range. Zico's kind of at the limit. He knows the Vill is weak from earlier, wants the villager pick, and gets to the hill and doesn't actually finish it. And Villese, if Villese can save that Vill, that'd be awesome. Over here, Hera's attacking as well. Hera comes back. Very surprising, Villese didn't wall that. You have to know that the opponent's coming back for that. But there's just so many things happening. This is the aggression from Hera. Hera gets rewarded for Villese not dropping that wall there. But again, there's just so much to look at. And Spearmen are finally out. There will be Spearmen and there will be Archers. Hera's lurking around. There's Hera's range now. This is all lands right now. Sometimes we see people sneaking out to other pawns. It just hasn't happened yet. Hera's basically like, I'll get to 4 or 5 fishing ships. That's it. I'll let you fish as much as possible, and I'll just simply kill everything on land. Look at him spot that archer. The scouts come in again to get some damage, and the spears are around. It's been a crazy aggressive game from Hera so far. Really aggressive. And this is what you want with the Mongols. But Res Collected is ahead for Villese. Villese sending villagers to the north now. And Hera is as well, actually. So Hera, I think, will see this. Yeah, he'll know about that. Quick walls now from Villese. And wow, dude, this is... I mean, Hera's making him work like crazy. But really impressive from Villese. He's getting these walls down. The scouts are still going to run through. Hera underneath the TC. Hera gets the villager snipe, but could he get trapped in here against all the spears? And Hera walls in the Vills from Villese. Well, now Villese can take the shorefish still, but that's so funny, man. Meanwhile, we got Scout, Spearmen, Archers coming this way. Hera has skirms around, but he doesn't know the army is here right now, so that could be a kill. There's still these scouts to worry about. There's still the dock to look at. There's 1,000,001 things to pay attention to right now, and they've still got to make houses and villagers and everything. That's good patience, though, from Hera to leave the skirms at home and just wait. It was really nice patience from him. A lot of people would maybe bring the skirms forward there. Ah, man, that's sick, though. Like, walling in the Vills there, 1 archer kills it all. That's sick. Just simply too many different things to pay attention to right now. It's so tough. And it's super close, but it feels like Hera's been able to take some really nice initiative this game. And Villese has been just slightly more defensive. And if you think about the land armies now, there's going to be a problem for Villese. If it's skirms and scouts, skirms alone he doesn't really have an answer to, and then the scouts could potentially kill everything else. So this is actually the correct play, to go for your own scouts. So I like that change. I also like the damage it's getting on the scouts there with fletching. But also from Hera's perspective, he does notice the stables coming in, so he'll know his opponent will do this. Now Hera could start to mix in more archers with his skirms. Villese can still fish in the north. Hera's coming down to the south to add fish now. Scouts aren't out yet for Villese, as he's just running away as quickly as possible against these skirms. These skirms are a problem. He might need to delete a hole in his wall if he wants to save these archers. Can he make it back through here? Maybe? I think if he would have deleted it, could have been a bigger problem. Wow, this could be sick. If he can get through and then hit those palisades, Well, never mind. He was worried Hera would break through over there. Hera's on top of it with his skirms and with his scouts. More scouts need to come from Villese. You could tell the production of new archers is kind of on the wrong side, and Hera is just pouncing on everything here. 9 kills, 2 deaths. And though the scouts will come out here for Villese, this is still such nice control for Hera. You can do a lot with this control, right? This is where you can add some fishing ships, sneak a couple more vills, add a couple more farms. He's actually going to opt for the market, which Villese also did. Villese already sold his stone, which is the right play. I mean, in this type of an aggressive game, it feels like whoever gets to Castle Age faster is going to win it. But it's just been so much pressure from Hera. And a lot of that stemmed from the fast feudal age time, right? You get the feudal age that much faster, you get the scouts out a little bit faster, and you're someone who can control units as well. Really makes a difference, and this is just a non-stop problem for Villese as he has to fall back now. Hera's going to be through. That villager should be dead. But Villese is up to Castle Age faster. He's still conserving his archer mass. Hera, doink, gets the Vill. Yeah, and I don't know if Hera can actually kill this. I want to see what are Hera's walls looking like right now. Is he protected if there's a counterattack? It seems like for the most part he will be. He never docked to the north, which is pretty crazy to me. The fact that he knows his opponent's up there and he had the Vill there and never tried to sneak a dock is wild. But I guess you're so focused on everything else, right? So Hera's 7 scouts have 188 HP. And the 5 scouts for Villese have 220 HP. So Hera's scouts are weak. And they won't have bloodlines. Bloodlines just completed for Villese. Guys, I know this seems like all Hera right now. This has the potential to turn around very fast over the next minute. Villese needs wins. Ideally, multiple wins. In round 4, not getting 2 wins would be horrible for him. But this is Hera we're talking about. Do you think that Villese trusts himself to win early Castle Age here? Or do you think there's a lot of fear and concern? I could say there's probably a lot of fear and concern. With how active Hera's been, you just kind of assume your opponent's going to have the army to beat you. But there's no better time than this window right here. The window is open, you've just got to jump out of it. Or, well, shouldn't advise people jump out of windows. You know what I meant. The window's open, so take it? The door's open? Well, okay, whatever. Okay, scouts, crossbows. It's a lot more scouts from Hera now. He does complete bloodlines. Elite Skirm is an upgrade that takes some time. And there's knights and scouts around. This is a good engagement for Villese. Hera will still hope to scare this off. But I think Villese should just always consistently take the engagement. I don't think you should really ever stop. Your micro with your crossbows behind. Light Cav on the way now for Hera. There's more HP with the Mongols on their Light Cav and Hussars. The extra scouts have pretty much saved these skirmishers' lives. Without the extra scouts, he wouldn't have had any chance. And he'll fall back to the TC. And be able to protect himself with the town center. And probably be on Elite Skirm. And be okay, I think. That was close. And now Elite Skirm's in. So now is kind of a problem. That's a lot of skirmishers there. I wonder if it benefits Hera to even have his Light Cav with his skirms now. It feels like these Light Cav could try and raid. Now, he doesn't know it, but there are some holes in the walls every so often. So knights, Cav archers, and crossbows for Villese, and it's just going to be Light Cav and some elite skirmishers here. Now, peak Villese is going to be happy with these fights all the time. But we haven't necessarily seen that so far this season. Guys, he's looking way better than he did the first 2 sets, though, right? Super smooth. University for Hera now. So much military, so much army. And they've pretty much both given up on contesting any of the pawns. It seems like they have no interest in that. There's too much to manage on land. I think some people would actually add Cav archers in Hera's position. But I kind of like the Light Cav You want that meat shield in front. Classic Hera, right? Just falls back and waits. And then right when you think you're going to have the edge, his upgrades shoot up. His numbers are there. He's been very aggressive at the start. Now a bit more defensive. Ballistics 40 seconds away. He'll have fully armored skirms, though. And Knights isn't really what you want to be making with the Japanese, in my opinion. I don't know if that's enough Knights for Villese. He will have +2, but he might not be able to get out of here very easily. I think once Ballistics is in, these crossbows are probably dead. Villese will have to think about an engagement just to save them. And if he does that, there's a lot of light cabin Knights there. And this should be Hera's fight. This should be a full clear up, guys. And the skirms are just such a big part of this. And even though they're not doing a ton of damage against the Knights, with this many of them, with Ballistics, you're still doing enough. And those Cav Archers as well. You need that meat shield that's just not going to be there. I was wrong, by the way. There is some attempt at killing fish, so there's Cav Archers doing that down here. But full map control from Hera. Now we could maybe consider a boom and start to drop TCs, and it just feels so difficult for Villese now. And now this wood line, this gold, all becomes a really big concern, and we might see the GG. Like, what else could you really suggest at this point? You've got no army that can stop this. There's too many skirms. There's too many Knights. I guess you could try and bring your Cav Archers home, but you don't want to do that when the number of skirms are like this. Now, he is taking this gold over here with 5 vills. He could also move out to this gold, so you can move off the main gold. This kind of reminds me of... This reminds me of, like, classic Hera. When I say classic Hera, I'm thinking like 2015, 2016. Obviously, his eco is incredible, but it's like full army all the time, non-stop aggression. Counterattack from Villese could be a problem, but Villese has to stop to snipe a couple of these units on the way, and I think that gives Hera time to complete the TC. Just so well calculated. Monastery and Stable from Villese. Still, the best unit he can make against this is Knights. Hera's TC completes. And that TC will be enough to push all that away. Yeah, the Knight even goes down to the TC. Yeah, the skirms are there. Hera's just has so many Knights and skirms. It's just non-stop, dude. And Villese is like, he's crazy to run in here. Who would run in here? It's just perfect, man. Hera's playing so good. Also, by the way, I think Hera has stepped his game up as well coming into this round. Obviously, he's been really good so far this season, but I felt the first 2 rounds at least that it was a little shaky and a little off. Felt like he could bring a slightly higher level. Definitely seeing that so far. TC's gonna complete. Hera's skirms might need to back away here. The +2 armor from Villese pays off. 65 eco for both. Hera's still got a massive army, though. A lot of that army's back home. And is gonna come over here now. Hera cleaned up all those Cav Archers that were over here. And yeah, so now he's got his own Knights. I think, like, the main thing that Hera's missing is really just +2 himself. But when it's 14 Knights against 7, I don't really think the +2 armor is the biggest talking point. Numbers are key at the end of the day. Now, conversions could be helpful, but it's kind of tough to have your monks around if those skirms are still there. So, Hera's still producing the skirms when his opponent's making Knights. It adds in a little bit of extra damage. And yeah, there's the +2 armor from Hera now. I personally would love to see Lancers mixed in, too. I think they help when the units are bumping into each other and taking, awkward engagements, but Knight is a tankier unit. You're diving underneath TCs. This is non-stop, and I think even though Villese has put up a good fight, he doesn't have enough to stop this now. The Knights will die even underneath his TC with Bodkin. The skirms are diving. Hera even dies before +2. But think about how inefficient the eco is for Villese right now. Both his TCs are fully garrisoned. Yep, he loses all his Knights. He's going to lose his Monk to the skirms. He has no eco to make more army. Just absolute killer instinct, non-stop pressure here from Hera with the Mongols, and Hera takes the first win. That was great, dude. That was really well played. That was, I mean, the game that Hera had against Classic Pro, that comeback was crazy in the previous round. But honestly, in terms of killer instinct, that might be the best that I've seen from Hera so far this season. That was the definition of killer instinct. I love that. And the start was also pretty delayed as well, right? He lost the villager, got the dock up, the super fast feudal, and just kind of kept the lead. And for Villese, for a while there, he was ahead in res collected, but he just couldn't take good fights because his opponent was always just slightly faster to the next stage of military. So really well played. It's exactly what the Mongols want, especially against the Japanese. You don't want the Japanese to be playing a game where they can freely fish trap, and play it safe. So Hera takes the first win. There's the difference in the res collected. Yeah, they had a very similar worker count, but over the last, 5-8 minutes, the food gold difference just shot up for Hera because his Vills were actually working. Vills for Villese were in and out of TCs. Look at the idle eco difference, right? 1 hour and 23 minutes of idle eco time versus 17 minutes. That's what the aggression does for you there. All right. So this is the map that's been banned a lot. I also think Hera banned it in previous sets. But he didn't ban it this time. He actually banned Pacific Islands. That has been the most banned map in the whole tournament so far. Hera's gone for the Cumans. This was his #1 pick. The Boom in Cumans. Probably second TC in Feudal Age. This Civ is absolutely insane on closed maps. And so I think Hera's gone for the right play here. It's really hard to stop this Civ. There are a couple civilizations that can compete. One of them is probably the Bengalis. The Bengalis get the additional Vills. The Bengalis have the armored monks. The Bengalis have really good late game if they can get there. But usually, when you're up against Cumans, you need to pressure them. If you don't pressure them, they're pretty much guaranteed to get an eco lead. I think the only civ that could maybe boom with them is Burgundians, maybe Malay. I'm not too sure about Bengalis. I haven't actually seen it that frequently. Bohemians was also on the draft for Villese, so he could have gone that route if you wanted to go really aggressive. But Villese is more of the macro-oriented, adapt type of player. So 5 relics in the middle of the map, sitting on the little monuments here. Players will know about that. And then these shrines in the back can produce a... sorry, they're not monks, they're priests. So they're 5 range, they're 75 gold. You can't put the relics inside of the priest, though. So, did I say the relics inside of the priest? Yeah, you can't put the relics inside of the priest. Sorry. You can't put the relics inside of the shrines, is what I meant to say. I don't think the priest would really appreciate the relics going there. So, yeah, you got to build a monastery for that. But what you can do is you could pick up the relics and you could drop them inside your walls. And so you could just leave them there for later. So some people have done just that. And I don't think Hera will do that. I think Hera, at least for the time being, just really wants to rush fast feudal, get to the second TC, and get the boom going. And Villese probably the same, but I mean, what do you do? Fast castle? Do we see, siege elephants and monks? We could see spear monk siege push, actually. I wouldn't hate that. Or will Villese boom? Guess we'll find out. Dara says, Malay felt good a few times, although of the times they were cheap elephant surprise attack. Yeah, it could work. I'm of the opinion, if I'm in a tournament, okay, and I'm ever up against the Cumans, I probably shouldn't say this in front of 4,000 people. But I'm going to all in you. I'm not letting you boom with the Cumans. The only exception is if I have, a couple of the civs I already mentioned. But I just think, the civ's too strong to let Sid back. So I either ban the civilization so they can't play it at all, or I just all in aggression. How many times do we see the Cuman player off the 2 TCs just dominate? Hera didn't actually bring in his boar yet. Can he still click up? Feels like the fact he didn't bring in his boar... Well, it's fine. Normally, the uptime I'm familiar with is 19 pop. The timing on the board doesn't really make a big difference here. As long as he can click up with his population, yeah, that's fine. I'll take the boar now. and everything's good. Now, with the fast feudal, you can also be active with the scout in the middle of the map before the opponent can. So anytime you're up against humans, you should never have your scout in the middle when they're going to be in feudal. So right around like that 9-minute mark, actually just play it safe and say 8 minutes. Have your scout inside your walls if you're Villese. You never want a free scout donation towards the enemy here. Villese may be a little rusty, but he knows that, so he falls back. Hera obviously looking for that, hoping the opponent's still out there. Still can't get over how the northern base always looks like a face. And sometimes if people build like along the front in a certain way, it adds the perfect little smiley to the face. The gold's always like in that spot, which yeah, I'm not too sure what that means for the face. You got the stone in there too. This person's got character. This face has been through a lot. But he's seen some better days, I guess. But it does kind of look like a face to me. The bottom one looks like a vampire. A vampire? We're talking mini-map, right? Vampire? Oh. Okay, it's kind of like a different type. Okay, I could kind of see it, I guess. I see what you're talking about. There's the second TC for Hera. Interesting placement on it. It's on the other wood line, but also the stone. And getting his eco upgrades now is going to make his first priest. And honestly, one thing that Hera could have tweaked with his build is there could have been 2 villagers chopping trees with intention to cut through. So it's 150 wood on this. I don't think he's really paid a lot of attention to that. And had he done that, then maybe he'd be closer to being through, and maybe he could have the priest on the way. Actually, he canceled the priest. Interesting. I wonder why you would do that. He doesn't need the golds. Could have been population space, though. Could have got housed, you know? Market Blacksmith for Villese. So this is a boom build. And so he's going to aim to get to Castle Age and out-boom the humans. It's going to be tough to compete with Res Collected, but villager count, that's a different story. And there will always be more Res Collected for the humans just because they'll have those villagers much earlier. But then they're stuck deeper into Feudal Age and they can't do what they might want, so. Full Metal Zim says the bottom base looks like my face. Yeah, especially if you got relegated. After getting relegated, right? Sorry, bro. Sorry, again, chat. Full Metal Zim says he will drink every time I say the word relegated, so I'm saying relegated a lot. Rudy, thanks for the 9 months. D-Slats, what's up? Thanks for the 59 months. Is that 1 month from 5 years? That is. Holy crap. Thank you. Johnsy, thanks for the 38. Neri, thank you for the 5. Prince, thank you. Grey Toke, thanks for the biddies. Did I miss all these people? Fredlord with the new sub? I definitely didn't say thank you. Dr. Llamas? Thank you, chat. Now, the Cumin Scout is ever so slightly faster. So that's kind of dangerous. And Hera is obviously going to be out and about with that Scout to snipe any monks. Villese is cut through now, so could create a priest. Hera has a priest waiting to come through. So the only thing that I could really say about Hera's build, because otherwise it's been perfect so far, is just you select 2 vills and you focus down 1 tree. That's the difference between having an extra relic or 2 in your base, potentially. But at this point, Villese is in feudal, so Villese could always get the snipe. T90, hi, I'm new to the channel. What is it called when a player gets bumped out of the tier in TTL? Oh, I'm glad you asked. It's called relegation. So what we have here is called a promotion relegation system. Essentially, if you do really well in the lower groups, you get promoted. And if you do poorly in the upper groups, you get relegated down to the lower groups. I'm glad you asked. We don't explain that enough. All right, TC2 on the way. Looks like Full Metal Zim is off to get another drink. TC3 now. So at this point, the Bengalis have received 4 free vills out of the TCs. And now has 3 TCs to produce, and Hera still hasn't clicked up. So, again, what I said is, the vill count, you can tie up. But eventually here, once Hera's on the way to Castle Age, he's going to have all this food income. And he won't have the TCs to spend it. So he'll have food to flood the map with army. That's something the Bengalis really can't do. Ooh, Hera tried to get the relic in Villese. Yeah, he knew. I mean, he scouted that. He saw all the little icons on the minimap, and that one disappeared. And he was over there in the nick of time, and now Hera's coming over here to find that scout, and the scout's nowhere to be found. You know, Hera's just kind of like, why did I even try and go for that? That's really well played from Villese. Again, he's pretty sharp, man. I don't agree that it's sloppy from Hera either. Like, Hera's losing that priest every single time. Even if his scout is around, his scout wouldn't be able to kill this in time. But yeah, you could argue that maybe the scout needed to at least see the other scout was there. Now he finds the scout. But what you could do if you're Hera is you could have multiple scouts. And then you're fighting that off, and then there's no way Villese can do that again. Yeah, waiting for 2 priests does maybe make some sense too, but remember, he doesn't know that Villese is not adding more scouts as well. So sending multiple priests out is kind of tricky to justify. I'm sure Hera's coming to the conclusion, though, that Villese is full boom. And Villese is going to take the fight, try and get away here. May be able to get back... Oh, he's going to go for a wall, and he's hoping Hera will follow him. Well, I thought that's what he was going to do. One more hit. Hera, you're now going to lose your own scout. You're trapped. Well, that scout's going to be deleted. Does Villese even convert it? Because you know it's going to... you know it's going to get deleted. I was like, how long will he stand there? You know what would have been really funny is if Hera preemptively deleted it. Just because he knew it was going to be converted at some stage. But that's still fine for Hera, because Hera can make more scouts. So, at the end of the day, Hera's very happy with that. Tom with the gifted subs. Thank you, Tom. What's up? Welcome back to the stream. My favorite wizard. Tom the most devious. Roy, thank you for the 67 months. Listen, we're allowed to make relegation jokes on this channel when it comes to Titans League, but no Manchester United relegation jokes, okay? You think you're so funny. I love talking about relegation when it comes to Titans League, but not Manchester United. That was rude. Bongo, Cat, thank you for the Prime. Welcome, guys. How many people are watching their first Titans League season ever? Or let me clarify, watching Titans League live for the first time ever. Probably quite a few. Hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. This is where it really gets crazy. This is the first series of the 4th round. The next 4 days or 3 days we'll have all of them. Yeah, I'm seeing lots of ones. Thank you guys. Thank you. The first 3 seasons I was on Facebook, and the most views I got streaming on Facebook was like 2,000, and I only hit that because I had an announcement. Like, literally, my last stream on Facebook, we hit the viewer record because I think people came over to see if I was announcing I was leaving. I'm actually still kind of low-key pissed about that. Like, you knew. I get it. It's Facebook. It's not great for streaming, whatever. You knew I was there, clearly, for freaking 2 years, grinding my ass off, and we get the viewership record on the day I'm announcing I'm leaving because you showed up to be like, oh, God, please tell me he says he's leaving. Like, what the? Come on, man. Anyways, I'm not upset about it. Imp's on the way for Hera. What a crazy imp time. And this is just so good. This is what I mean. You spend all your time trying to catch up to the boom of the Cumans. And then they're just set up so nicely to make the next decision. And so Hera goes forward castle. This will obviously be for Trebs. Hera's also got 4 relics, about to be 5 relics. I also like the third TC in the middle because you will fall massively behind in Vills going for this approach. Because right now he's only had 1 TC producing Vills and the other one's imping versus 3 TCs nonstop producing. Villese is up though. That's actually really good from Villese. It's a quality imp time. But will he be able to keep his base intact if Hera has a castle? So, Hera has a lot of time now. Actively looking on the sides to see what Villese may be up to. Deletes his kip check because he ventured a little too far forward. He just wanted scouting information, I think. He did get Bodkin, so it definitely seems like he was initially planning on going kip checks. Lightforce says, T90, we all prefer Bezos stealing our data over Zuckerberg. Okay. That's true. Yeah, Bezos has all your information. That's fine. He looks a little bit more trustworthy, you know? Hera doesn't know about that castle. That's crazy! Bro, your Treb could see a million miles. Move forward a tile. The fact he doesn't know about that castle's crazy. He could be trebbing that castle right now, uninterrupted. And because he doesn't see it, he's just attacking a monastery, which has very little value to Villese. He's also not even making more trebs. He's just kind of booming and waiting. And so now Villese can invest into a second castle. Villese is making a lot of Ratha. Hera has no clue what his opponent's actually doing here. If only there were scouts on the field, my friend. Move forward. I guess get a little bit closer to the walls. I guess he can't because there's monks. That's maybe very unlucky for Hera. I don't know. Hera has clicked Cavalier now. And, okay, so this will tell Hera what he needs to know. He'll see the castle on the back, and he'll see Bodkin Arrow on it. So he'll know it will be ranged units. Now, here come the Ratha. They can switch to melee mode, and Hera has no protection for the Trebs. These Trebs and the monks, everything should all die. Disaster for Hera. And, guys, like, the expectation for people up against Villese after the start of this season is that they get the 3-0. 2 players were able to do that already, and this is Hera we're talking about. And Villese has the Ratha numbers out in force. He's ready to raid. He's got the villager lead, and he's starting to make Trebs already to go after Hera's castle. Hera could be in trouble here. Hera had a plan, and then he just gave up on the plan. Like, he didn't go for the Treb push. Now he's dropping stables to go Cavalier, but I think he thought he was going to have a lot more time. Just didn't know. By the way, Ratha are an insanely good unit. I agree with the statement that Ratha are ridiculous. But Ratha are especially ridiculous against nothing. Fast imp, 2 trebs, 1 kip check. It's kind of like the start of a weird joke, you know? A player builds a forward castle. Makes 1 treb, 1 kip check, or 2 trebs, 1 kip check, and leaves 3 monks standing next to it. And then there's supposed to be some weird punchline. I don't know. Give credit to Villese. Very good boom here. Resources collected's even. Hera's castle's going to go down. I think, honestly, just YOLOing Paladin at this point is Hera's best play. But he doesn't have the resources for Paladin yet, so he might need to just stay on Cavalier. Ballistics is on the way for Ratha. The Ratha still aren't elite. There could be monks here for Villese. There could be Haubs. He's still not there yet. This could get dangerous. That's a lot of Cavalier. I think Hera is going to aim to raid the outside because he saw that was exposed, which I like. But I also like this. Guys, I literally was working on a script yesterday of things that pro players don't do enough. And this was on the list. That video will probably come out, I don't know, in like 6 months because I've been meaning to make it for a year. But this is on the list. Gating and fully stonewalling in your trebs with how good everybody is these days is absolutely necessary. That way the Cavalier can't dive. Castle's down for Hera. Hera's badly housed at the moment. And the Ratha are about to be elite Rathas. They are now, actually. So you have 6 base attack with the ranged, which isn't that crazy, but you also have 12 base attack with the melee. But again, I think Halb is still needed here. Let's see. This isn't completely walled because he used the Siege Workshop as part of it. All right, so Ratha melee mode against Cavalier. How's it go? Ratha are absolutely insane. This unit is so good, dude. This is against Cavalier. And it's got a ranged option. That's good enough for Villese. That is so good. It's a wood and gold unit versus a crazy food and gold unit. I think you still would want to see Halb, still would want to see Monks, but oh man, Hera's Trebs are exposed again, and Villese about to hand a loss to Hera. Also, just responding so nicely. Mentally, too. Losing that previous game probably didn't feel very good. Treb goes down. Hera's without a castle, by the way. So Hera is castleless. Hera has 5 relics. Can he hold now? How much gold does he actually have available? Oh, he's got this gold. Well, Villese can see that. So he's got 19 of his 32 villagers on gold right here. These villagers should die. I think Hera's dead. He needed to push. And he didn't have a push going. I think he didn't recognize what Villese was going for. He was unlucky to not see the castle, and now it's super easy to question things. But he just simply had no clue that he could actually have done damage in early imp. This would have to be an amazing comeback from Hera now. Like, he's going to go skirms, which can be okay. But he's giving up full map control. There's still so many Rathas out there. There's still so many Halbs, and Villese is playing this so well. I love the eco upgrades from Villese. I love the blacksmith upgrades from Villese. I love this castle for Villese. He just needs to finish the job. That's it. Can he finish Hera just by pushing right into the heart of his base here? That's how you do it. Hera's doing whatever he can to distract at the moment with raids. And this raid won't amount to much. Villese already protecting the Trebs. Human skirmishers. They don't get bracer, so they're not the strongest with the attack. But they still... Skirms still do bonus damage against Ratha. And it's still a good trash unit to utilize here. Against Halbs and also against Ratha. Where Skirms would not help much is against, like, Light Cav or Battle Elephants. Battle Elephants actually is the best unit that Villese could make, but it's super expensive. Hera's population's going up. But is his position getting worse? It feels like it is. We're going to run out of gold. He's going to run out of stone. He's reacting an awful lot. How many times do you see this where the player has to chase? They just lose the game. Hera's skirms now are getting pushed back here because his Cavalier are completely out of position. We got raids from Villese on the right, on the left, through the middle. Hera's not even winning this fight. He may eventually clear because his production's there, but he's losing everything, and Villese will drop another castle now between his Trebs. Hera desperately trying to snipe them, and he will not. And Hera is probably like, are you kidding me? This is my #1 Civ pick. Other people in the group have 3-0'd this guy. Why did I get so unlucky to face up against him when he's finally in shape? Villese is back in shape. Maybe he could get 2 wins in the series. I don't see how Hera can survive. He won't have the relics. He doesn't have any of the additional stones and golds across the map. And Villese could finish the game with a statement castle. He could drop a castle right on his face if he wanted to. I think the safe play is actually castle on the right. So Hera can't raid you there. Because then you're castled all along the middle. But, like, you could just castle his face right now. This is great. It's exciting to see Villese in this form. I also thought he played really well game 1. Hera played like an absolute animal, but game 1 was also super sharp. It's clear that Villese was just, the first couple weeks was just not at 100% after some time away from the game. Now, this is the area I said that Villese is vulnerable. Hera's going to find some raids. It ain't over till it's over. Villese is also not noticing right away. But, I mean, Hera doesn't have a town center anymore. And Hera's going to lose another TC. There's going to be a castle forward now. That castle probably won't be denied. A lot of the Ratha are dying here. Cavalier's still over here. Could maybe do some damage. Remember, it's not Regicide, so there's no kings that could be sniped or anything. So no real desperation moves for Hera. Where's he sending these vills, by the way? I think that's probably just a misclick. Seems like a rally point from the... Oh, all of his TCs were sending vills forward there. That's not good. Hera quickly trying to take his relics again. By the way, did he delete a shrine? I think he deleted his shrine. I didn't know you could do that. But I guess he was running out of space. But he builds his castle with the last of his stone. How is he supposed to keep that castle up? Raided on this side now. Okay, Hera. Sneaky TC. That's kind of funny. Hera has 50 cumin skirms. And that's it. GG. Villese gets a win. Wow. All right. I mean, not many people are going to be able to play that well under that type of pressure after being dominated in the first game. Well played, Villese. Again, I think for Hera, like, when you play Cumins, you really just have to commit the whole way through to YOLOing with the fast stim. And he didn't know the castle was there. Like, if he knows the castle is there, he continues to make trebs, and he probably plays this much differently. But I think he was just like, well, I've got 5 relics. I just have to hold on to the middle, and I win the game. Had no clue the castle was there. Now, if he knows the castle's there, he probably makes more trebs to take down the castle. He still doesn't have an army to protect them. And he's still kind of outboomed, right? Look at the Vil difference right now. So, like, the Ratha could still snipe the trebs. It's not necessarily just over. But I think it's not as easy for Villese to get the Ratha production. It's not as easy for him to spend his stone on additional castles because he has to repair. It's just a more stressful situation for Villese. Hera is going to be kicking himself for just not moving a little bit further forward with the treb. And Villese played it well. So, we'll look at the promotion relegation situation here in just a sec. There's the difference in the boom. Hera brought in 2,500 gold with the relics, but just wasn't really able to spend it. Ratha are absolutely insane, by the way. The fact that they can be Cavalier in melee mode while also being super tanky with ranged and also attached to the Bengalis makes them one of the better units in the game. I think we might see a nerf to them at some point, but score is 1-1. Well, game number 3, in Hera's quest for first place in the group, really important he snags this victory, otherwise Sato may overpass him in the 4th round. Hera's gone for the Chinese, and this Civ is busted. This Civ is so good. With the auto drop-off hotkey now, you're able to limit that idle TC time to around, optimally, 25 secs minimum. Hera, drop-off, there we go. 30 secs minimum, still fine. You get the Vil lead, you have the cheaper technologies, you have a great tech tree. It's a really good civilization. Hera's map, not necessarily good, though. That gold is very much close to the rock, which you cannot wall. So that is not going to be easy. And we've seen some forward golds before. Sometimes those golds are at least closer to the wood. So you can kind of tower both. But yeah, Hera's not going to like the looks of that. Hera also might be wondering, what is Villese planning to do with the Armenians? Okay, chat, so there's a couple things here. First off, you can use the mule cart just in general on wood, gold, and hunt. And there's a lot of gold, stone, and hunt in the middle. So you could go forward. You could use the mule carts here. The other thing you can do is a mule cart wall. Now, I don't mean like... I mean, technically, you could make 20 mule carts and wall this off, technically. But what I'm actually talking about is I'm actually talking about building a wall along the front of the rock, and then you stack the mule cart on either side in the openings. Now, I haven't tested it recently. I don't know if you need 2 on each side here, or if just 1 could do it. But in theory, you could use the mule carts to fully wall your base. And so that allows some creativity, because other civs that don't have mule carts just can't do that. So I think just 1 on either side is doable. So I'm talking like mid-feudal late castle. If Hera has a big army, Hera might just run into a mule. I don't know how many times Hera's faced up against that. Still do think, in general, that you got to have army here. And then it's like, are Armenians the best? He's going to go Dark Age Spear Rush! Bro, Villese's got a plan! Okay, type a 1 in chat. It's okay to admit it. Type a 1 in chat if, when you saw Villese's performance in the early rounds, you were already counting him out, and you just kind of thought, oh, it's going to be a crappy season. It's not going to get any better for him, and he's probably just going to struggle. It's okay. Admit it. Come on, guys. I have the chat history from everyone who just typed a 2. And I bet you if we dig back when you were watching the other Villese series, you weren't exactly confident. That's okay, because I wasn't either. When you're 1-8, I just kind of assume the player's not going to have any reason to really put up as much of a fight. But we are going to see a fight. We're going to see spears. Armenian, the only civ that can make spearmen in Dark Age. And how many spears is the question. I like this. Now, usually what you see is you still see a fast feudal, but then you make a spear or two to, like, as you're on the way to feudal age. So I don't know if the spearman rush is necessarily going to be insanely strong on its own in the Dark Age. I wonder if he just wants a hit on Hera's scout because he knows Hera will be pushing deer. Like, if Hera comes back out to the middle and he doesn't expect that, maybe the spearman gets a hit. Okay. Okay, there we go. He gets hit. Worth it, baby. Worth it. Well, I think if you made additional spears, it might not accomplish a ton. So just getting that boink on the scout there is pretty nice. And now he's on the way to feudal age. Interesting. So what is Hera's plan? Hera obviously knows the opponent has a barracks already. I would expect scouts from Hera. Scouts and then adapt feels like the best opening for him. Villese also gets another hit there on the scout. Hera coming through to see what Villese is up to. And Villese going to push it in the last year. So I would say that Spearman's already paid for itself, by the way. I'd say that's worth it. Remember, you can't wall on the rock terrain, but mule carts can give you the greater efficiency on the wood line compared to Hera's situation. Hera has to chop another, like, 2 layers of trees to get a snug lumber camp in there. But Chinese are Chinese. I am noticing, though, is Hera missing sheep? Well, more specifically, he's missing geese. But he didn't find those geese. So, missing a little bit of additional food underneath the TC. Should be fine, though. He's Chinese after all. His farms are going to be really strong. And now, wow. Now Villese is going to the middle again. We have not seen people going forward and building up in the middle of this map. We just haven't. They've always been building along the front of their base because you're so close to the enemy and going through that way. Villese is going to park an archer range right in the crossing. Like, he'll be able to see anything Hera sends forward. Scouts forward, sees the range from Hera. And now Hera's like, where is this production building? Hera's like, what's he doing? Is he going scouts? Is he going skirms? I can't really tell. Has no indicators that the archery range is there. And he's coming back again. He's like, what's he going for? Because everybody builds their range in their stable here. It's like, what's he doing? Now, at this point, I think Hera should have the recognition. He's Armenians. He's got to be going forward or something, right? But it is out of the box, and people typically find out about out-of-the-box strategies when it happens to someone else. Once it happens to someone else, then everyone's like, oh, that's a thing. This is the first time this tournament this is happening. And we even have a tower from Villese. Okay, so Hera will see skirms for the first time and immediately know what's up. And now there's a tower behind his woodline. This is really good pressure from Villese. This is so, like, win or lose, this is a great strat in my opinion, because he's putting Hera into an uncomfortable situation. And he's also applying decent pressure to the Chinese. Now, he's got a decision to make here. And his decision is to just garrison. Hera is building his own tower so he can shoot that down. I don't know about that, though. Like, I mean, Hera's going to have to garrison his vills to shoot it down. But Villese was actually just mining some stone. So Villese... Well, actually, the stone is in the villager's hand still. He wasn't able to drop it off. There's the mule cart. I don't know where it's going. Oh, okay. The mule cart's going to be used for these vills on hunt. Okay. But yeah, this repair war might end up actually benefiting Villese. As I say that, though, Hera's going out to stone. I don't know if he'll stay around there. Now, Hera hasn't lost a single unit. He's Chinese with horse collar with lots of farms. So he'll save a lot of wood. Villese gets fletching. Villese now repairing, but also doesn't have his scout anymore. I kind of missed... What happened to the scout? I think Hera just lost a villager on the wood line. This is still really awkward for him. And Villese, some farming eco. Not the craziest, but also has the hunt in the middle and has lots of activity on the map. Hera's wood situation is brutal. He needs houses. He needs skirms. He needs farms. He needs a blacksmith. Like, he needs all this wood. Now he has to place another lumber camp over here. But he's done a really good job, all things considered. Again, it's kind of a crazy detail, but I think Hera's just been long distancing some stone just so he can slightly out-repair his opponent, which is crazy. But he doesn't know Villese is already mining stone as well. Yeah, guys, sorry, but I really don't remember that scout dying. I do not know what happened to Villese's scout. Villese just going to repair. Hera's woodline will be awkward, but this is far from over. Lots of scouts. Hera doesn't have fletching because he hasn't had the wood. Like, he just now gets some safe wood access, and now he can afford the blacksmith. The scout got relegated. True, we haven't said relegated in a while for the drinking game, so... So, Harris feels pretty hard stuck on skirmishers. He's about to get fletching. And now we have a stable from Villese to go for scouts. I love this strat, man. This is so good. Such a good game. Look at Hera adapt. Could build a mill on the berries. Just about to get fletching himself. But Hera is not actively mining stone. So I think, like, right now, his vills are just randomly getting hit by this tower. If he tries to shoot this down, I don't think it'll work. If Villese garrisons. Villese obviously needs to garrison, though. Holy skirms. We are truly in the age of skirmishers, though. Like, my goodness, bro. The thing is, they produce so fast. That's what people realize. They produce so freaking fast. And even though, yeah, skirmish should die to scouts, if you just have enough, that's only a 45 HP unit on the other side against 16 units. That's interesting from Villese. He's actually just going to build another tower. All right. Well, scouts and skirms against just skirms. Technically a little bit harder to micro, actually, for Villese. You're controlling two different types of units. But the scouts should be able to scale pretty well. Remember, Hera's gold is still exposed here on the front. He may never be able to take this comfortably. Right now, that doesn't really benefit him. I kind of like this from Villese the more I think about it. Because this will still disrupt Hera's woodline. It's still not an easy situation. But I really like Hera's hold. Now Hera knows the scout edition is there. Wondering if he'll go for his own scouts, though. Or is he just going to play Skirm Spear? So funny how for years, everybody made jokes about MBL. All MBL makes is Skirms and Spears. The Hera's known MBL for a long time. He's a part of the jokes, too. And now everybody's doing it. This is definitely something that's more common these days. It's also really common on this map. How many skirms are we going to see? Man, when you have this many, are scouts even really that big of a problem? And then what's the problem for your spears? Enemy skirms. You snipe those skirms? Suddenly, skirm spear's looking really good. Nice hold here from Hera. Again, needs to think about gold. I'd say pull the vills now. You can go, oh! He doesn't have scouting on his gold there. What? Well, I mean, it's probably hard for him to think about it in the moment, but you should know that there is a gold. There's another gold beyond your main gold. But he doesn't know that. And so he has to fight for the main gold. Hera will get the main golds. No tower on or anything, so that could be a big problem. He definitely wants to click up to Castle Age, but he won't be as fast as Villese. I still don't know if that will be that much of an issue, though, because Hera's army count is crazy strong right now. And he's also now camping the range. So you camp this range, more skirmishers can't really meet up with the rest of the group. Man, this is such an awkward spot to be in if you're Hera. Like, you would love to have a market, but then you don't have the wood for the market. And now you're just waiting for that extra 100 gold. But that's okay. That just gives him more time to make skirms. Probably should mix in a couple scouts as well, my opinion. Villese on the way up. In a normal game, Chinese are just so much better. But this has not been a normal game. The res collected's actually even. That's really hard to achieve against the Chinese when you only kill one Vill. A minute faster to castle age could be massive here. But what do you make as the Armenians? Obviously, knights feels good, but then the Chinese have camels. The Chinese have halb. I think some siege, but then the opponent can make knights. Like, there's a lot of potential from Hera's situation. I think a couple knights, and you hope for the best. It feels very much like game number 1 for Hera. Just skirms. Skirms into cav. This is the meta right now. At least it's what some players are doing. Hera doesn't get the walls down. Ooh. It's a little surprising. That's the first time, actually, that we've even really thought about how you can't wall on this map easily. Not really been a conversation. We've just been looking at Hera's base the whole time. Those scouts should kill Vills, dude. Those scouts should murder that wood line, right? Hera can't wall it. Hera will fight back, which is the right play because he's got spears alive. That's good. Villese's micro's not, though. Oof. Probably should have got 2. I think he was a little distracted here. And also, that villager is maybe trying to chop the other side of the wood line. So that villager has a death wish. He's going to die. Goodbye, buddy. Respect, though. He went down fighting. You got to respect it. And look at the resources for Hera, man. Like, he's going to go 3 stables. Arrives to Castle Age with 800 food and 500 gold. Just Chinese things. We'll need to recover the knight numbers, though. It's double stable for Villese. There will be siege from Villese. There could be monks for Villese. And Hera did find the gold in the back. That's good that he knows about that. And if Hera loses this, still, obviously, there's one more round remaining. He can still get first place. But it's possible he doesn't get first place. Feudal Age skirms. Didn't take any damage from the Scorpion. Oh, man. Villese's going to want that one back. So many skirms. Again, though, think about it. It's 24 units. Even if they're doing 1 damage a hit, that's a massive difference. So, it's... The additional... Like, just pure army numbers is crazy strong right now. And it neutralizes monk play as well if you have these in the mix. Now, Hera needs to get upgrades on them, but still. Villese trying to force the timings. He would love a conversion here. Oh, Hera diving to get the monk. Villese could move to the side. Hera's skirms are disappearing! Hera just wants that 1 monk kill. I think he'll get it. I don't know. I guess it's not... At the end of the day, they're just leftover skirms. Monk does survive. Knight v Knight. Hera seems to have more knights now. But the skirms are down, and now there's a monk here as well from Villese to get a conversion. He needs that conversion badly. He needs it. And he won't get it. That's brutal. That's brutal. He really needed those monks to get conversions. Hera's resources are insane here. Triple stable production versus double. And again, just the amount of food he has on those farms is insane. The game plan from Villese is so solid. I really liked it, but Hera's just held on. And now he's going to pounce, guys. And so you have to drop this TC. You have to lock down every area of your base. You need every single conversion. He's not going to get it. He gets it. And he saved the monk. What the? Well, okay, that monk's dead now. But at least he saved the other one. TC goes up, and now there's idle time. But, you know, I'm beginning to feel like this is very similar to game number 1, where Hera's just got the numbers, and all of the eco for Villese is idle. Thankfully for him, these churches do fire some arrows, and they allow you to garrison the monks inside. Normal civs can't do that with their monasteries, but Armenians can. Hera, though, finding the gold now, another area Villese needs. He did click pikemen at one point, but he's still waiting for the pike numbers to come out. And it's just ring around the rosy right now for Villese, waiting to pop out with the monks to get conversions. I mean, maybe there's a chance he stabilizes. It feels like this is a good moment for Hera to consider some siege to push the monasteries. There's 4 monks inside of here. If he gets 4 conversions and then turns into monks and pikes, maybe this could be okay. Hera's losing knights underneath the TC. Here, though, Villese... Well, I mean, he's holding. Hera's throwing a lot of army away. The monks could still start to pop out here. If Villese could just gather his units together in one group now, it could be good. Pike and monk. Yeah, look at that. Villese's eco was super idle in those moments, but he is 3 TCs. And Hera wants to go light cav to counter the monks, but there's pikes out as well now, so interesting. Also remember, one proper counterattack from Villese, and the Hera loses that main gold. But you can't be advancing forward with your monks without your pikemen here, Villese. This is crazy. He doesn't have sanctity yet, so his monks are super weak. Needed a little bit more patience. I think here he's still trying to chase down these knights. Hera knows about all the monks right now. He's locked in with those light cav to get the kills. Gets a kill there. Gets a kill there. Could get at least 1 kill here. And yeah, I think Villese felt, I'm so far behind, I have to counterattack. He probably thought Hera is like 20 vills ahead. But in actuality, the vill count was even. I think if he just sat there in the middle and waited, I think maybe he's okay. But guys, it's like so easy from our perspective because we see the vill count and the TC difference. And we know it's even, and we know he needs patience. Players don't know that. You just know you're behind, you've been raided a bunch, and you know you need counter damage. And so I think he just assumed he needed to immediately do something. If he didn't immediately do damage to Hera, he'd be cooked. Also, really hard against mobile players and mobile units to play with such slow units here. But this is a good map for it because there's only that choke point. You know how they're going to enter your base. 2 conversions there for Villese. Another conversion could potentially come in. There's pikes around. This is Villese's arena experience here. All right. Hera will still get the clear up, though. The +2 attack was a good upgrade over the armor, too, by the way. Attack helps you so much more when killing off these units. Still feels like there's a chance for Villese. If he can hold, it's 70 vills for both. The score is horribly in Hera's favor. So again, I would be thinking as a player that I'm 20 or 30 vills behind. But the army comp's got some real potential here. He also has 2 relics. Hera doesn't have any. He's on stone. He could drop a castle. Hera's going to need gold, guys. He's going to need the middle. We have a fight! I think Hera wins the fight. He's got a monk there. Yeah, he's just got so many units. It's just preemptive engagement after preemptive engagement from Villese. He just cannot keep his units alive, and Hera's just diving on them. If you've got... So a knight beats a pike in a 1v1 engagement. So if you've got similar numbers, the knight will still win, especially if there's a couple monks there. It's the cost effectiveness and the counter aspect of pikes that eventually makes them strong. There's also no armor for those spears, and when Hera's got all the attack, and here we have a castle. Hera only has 9 villagers building. Fletching's already in for both. I mean, if Hera's castle gets denied, we have a pretty crazy situation on our hands. It's at 70%, but so is Villese's. I think both castles are going to go up. And then immediately the pikes and the monks and the knights and the light cav have to kind of get out of here. Hera wanted to build a TC there. That's not going to be easy. And what a game, dude. What a crazy close game. Like, again, I think Villese doesn't know it's necessarily close. This is close, man. He's got a great eco behind. His opponent's primarily on light cav and knight. Now, Hera will find some additional gold with that TC. But yeah, Rams need to come out, dude. Rams need to come out right away in this situation. I'm very surprised Villese isn't doing that. Hera is. So they'll make a play for those castles. Sometimes you'll even see petards in this situation when the castles are this close. Is it technologies? Is it scores? It's sorry, is it score? Like, I'm trying to think of what's making the score so high for Hera. It's got to be KD and technologies, honestly. Both those things. But this is just... It's deceiving. And Imp is on the way for Villese. What? He needs to keep that castle up, man. He needs to keep that castle up. Hera's counterattack, splitting up here, making Villese work. Villese sees the Siege Workshop, and we'll see the flags on it. But he doesn't have an easy answer for the Rams if the Rams are underneath Hera's castle. Again, this is why you pretty much have to play with mobile units yourself against Hera. You try and play with close... You try and play with slow counter units, he's just going to dance around your base. The key in Imp here is trebuchets, right? Now, you could also go Halbin Castle Age, which is a pretty sick move. Oh god, those monks need to be saved. Wow, another castle for Villese. Hera wants the monks. The monks go inside the church. What a save. Well, now Hera needs to take down 2 castles. That's not so easy. What a stressful game. Hera will probably imp himself soon. Reminder, though, on the gold situation. He was soon out of the gold in the back. Then there's the gold in the front, which is exposed. Then this gold could be trapped. That's his TC. That's his imp TC. Is there a university at all for Villese? Doesn't seem... Oh, there is. Okay. He got ballistics. Well, he probably loses this castle. I know it's kind of a meme for pro games, but I actually think Murder Holes is kind of worth it here. It's not going to save your castle, but it could chip away at the Rams, which could contribute in other ways. Les about to be an imp. When does Hera start to freak out about this? I think right now. Right now, I'd be like, And I'd put myself under a lot of pressure to try and take this castle out as well. Is Villese going to remember he has all those monks inside of that church? Because those 5 or 6 monks are going to be really valuable. Also, it just feels like Halb is so beneficial here. Like, I think he's really worried about the Chukonu, though. So I really like Bracer for the composite bowman. I definitely think you've got to respect those. Hera's going to give up that castle. He knows he'll lose it. He'll drop a defensive castle back here. Hera's eco is absolutely insane. But he doesn't have the relics. Villese could eventually get 3. Could eventually get 4. I think Hera needs to raid the outside here. I'm actually quite surprised he's not making more light cap to try and raid the outside. Feels like a very Hera thing to do in this situation. Make it messy. Yeah, there's an army. Like, this army is going to be so distracting for Villese. This is a good move. And he's starting to make more light cap now. Castle for Hera will fall. And Villese's thinking primarily in the middle. Hera even going for capped ram. His rams are still alive as well. He was able to back away. Feels like Villese hasn't been able to use his imp timing all that much. And now the cav's going to come in. And this is where you now need to have army back home all the time. And this takes away from your push in the middle. It's unfortunate for Villese. He knew he'd be exposed. He's dropping a castle on the right. So he definitely thought about this possibility, but he wasn't expecting it from that angle. And Composite Bowman versus Chukonu in the middle now. And it's monks and Composite Bowman, not a whole lot else, as Hera's still just trying to raid. Still didn't have any imp upgrades on the Cav. Will lose all of his Cav, and Villese is still just hanging in. I'm worried for what Villese makes against pure Skirm, though. Like, Chinese have fully upgraded Skirms, and I feel like with this eco, Skirm and Siege is actually good enough to kill the Armenian player. In theory, Composite Bowman should be pretty good against a unit like Skirm because it ignores armor, but they still are weak themselves. And Hera's eco is so strong. And he can just casually move over here for stone and gold. He doesn't necessarily need it. Eventually, you'd want to get champion if you're Armenians, but I just don't think you have the time. I think Hera's going to get this win on his home map. He's not desperate for wins, but, like, he gets 2-1 here, and he could lose out on first place. So, sorry, if he gets 1-2'd, I guess. So, what a fun game, man. What a hold from Hera. What a great strat from Villese. Villese's castle's going to go down, though. There's no way to save this. Those rams are too strong. He's trying to stabilize. Obviously, he's had fires to put out in his eco. And he's repairing away here. He's hoping for some mangonels. But he doesn't have the res for that. He's just completely capped. And Hera can come to the middle now, take the stone and gold. Skirmisher light cap alone should be good. Armenians need to have a really nice lead to be able to get that switch into champion, and then that switch can be devastating. They don't really have an easy comeback condition. No Civ really has an easy comeback condition when you're down 35 villas against the Chinese. So it's just a struggle. I would be doing this too if I were in Villese's base. I don't know where the mule cart is going right now, but it was just fleeing the scene. Evacuating. Yeah, and obviously all the pain was coming. And man, I really think this has potential. And I think if Villese rewatches this, he might be kicking himself a little bit. Because I think he felt the reason he took some of those engagements, the reason he sent some of his army forward, was because he saw the score and he was 1K score behind. He didn't know he was 3 town centers against 1. And Hera was all in. I think if he knew that, he sits back, his pikes and monks just kind of chill, and he conserves his numbers. Hera took some really valuable valuable engagements. You think about the amount of spears that were made and the amount of monks. I don't remember the number exactly. But there were a lot of instances where like 5 to 10 pikes and 2 to 4 monks were getting sniped. I think if you just hold the middle there, I think eventually you have a nice Vil lead. You get an army that's so big Hera can't engage, and Hera could have some problems. But again, we just don't know that. We know that, but he just didn't know that. And I think it would have felt natural for him to feel like he needed immediate counter damage. And so he kept just sending units away. Really fun series, though. I like that strat. That was an A+ strategy. I'll tell you another thing about that strategy. That strategy is top tier in the playoffs, in a situation where you have to pick like so many more civs and play so many more maps. Look at the draft priority here for Villese. That's his last pick. Now, you could argue maybe Romans, Bohemians have better options, whatever. But the fact that you can be competitive with one of the best civs in the game, Chinese, with that strategy tells me that it's actually good. Now, did it win? No. But I think that's one to hold on to, especially for playoff time. So, Hera ends up getting 2 wins. Expected that he would win the series today. And he goes top of the group. But that doesn't mean that he will be top of the group by the end of this round. Not getting the 3-0 means that Sito could possibly pass him. That puts Hera up to 9 total wins. If Sito gets a 3-0 in his series, Sito will be first place in the group with 1 round left to go. Villese, after this result, has a 0.17% chance at escaping relegation. What is that, dude? 0.17%? So, he has to 3-0 Classic Pro. And then I don't know what else has to happen for him to survive. I think he needs Nikov to get destroyed. And he needs Classic Pro to get destroyed. And then he needs to 3-0 Classic Pro. Yeah. That's probably what it is. But it's not looking good for Villese's chances of surviving. Because to avoid relegation, you have to avoid being bottom two. So